Good evening, friends, and welcome to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill Christmas News Brief. It is Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2018. I can hardly believe 2018 is almost over, but I'm looking forward to 2019 with even more excitation and enthusiasm than I even thought possible. I thought that 2016 was great because our Donald Trump was elected. I thought 2017 was great because of everything he was doing to save the country. I thought 2018 was even better. 2019 is going to be a banner year. I'm going to say it here first. And I might be wrong. You never know. But I'm really hoping. I have a lot of excitement for it. All right. Well, we have a Christmas story to start us off. This is from the Gateway Pundit, and it's by Ted Malloch. It is the true meaning of the 12 days of Christmas, and it may surprise you. This is pretty cool because I've always wondered what this was about. Hello, potato. There is one Christmas carol that has always baffled me. Have you ever wondered about the 12 days of Christmas? What in the world do leaping lords, French hens, swimming swans, and especially the partridge that won't come out of the pear tree have to do with Christmas? I had to find out. From 1558 until 1829, Catholics in England were not permitted to practice their faith altogether openly. Someone during that era secretly wrote this carol as a catechism song for young Christians. It has two levels of meaning, the surface meaning plus a hidden meaning known only to members of the church. Each element in the carol has a code word for a religious reality, which the children could remember. Now we will let you in on the secret. The partridge in a pear tree was Jesus Christ. 2 turtle doves were the Old and New Testaments. 3 French hens stood for faith, hope, and love. The 4 calling birds were the 4 Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The 5 golden rings were called the Torah or Law, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. The 6 geese a-laying stood for the 6 days of creation. The 7 swans a-swimming represented the 7-fold gifts of the Holy Spirit: prophecy, teaching, serving, exhortation, contribution, leadership, and mercy. The 8 maids a-milking were the 8 Beatitudes. 9 ladies dancing were the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. The 10 lords a-leaping were the 10 commandments. The 11 pipers piping stood for the 11 faithful disciplines, and the 12 drummers drumming symbolized the 12 points of belief in the Apostles' Creed. A few historical facts for our own era. When in public, we can no longer, it appears, even mention the word Christmas, have a crochet, let alone sing these songs in schools and malls. Is it not time to usher in a new era of faithfulness, tradition, and sanity to take our country and civilization back? To that end, I have attached my recent longer essay on belief. I hope you read and ponder its meaning this season. After all, Happy Holidays actually translates as Holy Days. Don't mention that in the mainstream media or on Facebook or Twitter. You may be banned. And do have a merry from the Old English merge, meaning pleasing, agreeable, pleasant, and sweet, Christ Mass. It is a Mass or Eucharist liturgy celebrating our Savior's birth. And everyone can follow through right here to see some more information presented by Ted Malloch, and here is his essay on belief. Well, that's really cool. Having been a lifelong Catholic myself, all of this makes a lot of sense once they spell it out. So yeah, that definitely puts a different spin on things, and I am very grateful to know that on this day in particular. All right, next we have another article from the Gateway Pundit. This one's called Creepy John Podesta Represented Foreign Governments While Working in the White House, Not Hero General Flynn. There he is himself. DC pizza lover John Podesta. During General Michael Flynn's hearing earlier this month, the abusive judge in the corrupt case accused the general of acting as an agent for a foreign government while he was serving in the White House. I think the nuance is lost on the Gateway Pundit here. This was not only a lie, but the real culprits and deal makers of representing foreign governments while working in the White House are the Clintons and John Podesta, who walk free to this day. This is the point. In the recent hearing in the deep state's corrupt case against General Michael Flynn, the judge accused the general of working for a foreign government while in the White House. This same misguided and possibly corrupt judge asked if the general should be indicted for treason, a charge he has never faced. And here is a tweet from Technofog. Judge discusses how he will take into account Flynn's 33 years of service and sacrifice, but also all aggravating circumstances. In his view, not just false statements to FBI, but to the Trump team. Here's Judge Sullivan's huge screw-up, accusing Flynn of being an agent of a foreign government while serving as national security advisor. Arguably, you sold your country out, the judge said. What a horrific, embarrassing mistake by the judge in a high-profile case. Unacceptable. This was abusive and irresponsible for the judge to even infer this, yet alone be absolutely incorrect in saying this. He later came out and admitted he shouldn't have said it but never apologized to the general. But the most egregious actions by the judge and the deep state DOJ are to accuse the heroic General Flynn of these crimes while not looking into the many individuals in the Obama administration who were corrupt and performed criminal acts while in office. The creepy Podesta brothers are a case in point. John Podesta was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager during the 2016 election. His emails were released to the public during the campaign, and they were chock full of criminal and corrupt actions by the Clinton gang. They showed massive collusion with the media, and where all the top 10 reporters at all the far-left media outlets were working and or meeting with the campaign secretly. These emails were never reported in the mainstream far-left media, but we posted them here at the Gateway Pundit. Oops. Creepy Podesta worked for Bill Clinton, then with George Soros, in setting up far-left fringe outfits like the Center for American Progress. He also worked with the Hillary campaign and with his creepy brother Tony in setting up the Podesta Group, a lobbying outfit that made millions from foreign governments in return for favors from their gang in the government. John Podesta also reportedly worked for Obama in all of 2014 through February of 2015 in the White House. A person like Podesta should never be near our White House, but he is the type of corrupt and seedy person the Democrats bring to Washington. The higher up in the administration, the more corrupt. The Podesta Group disbanded after the 2016 election. The two brothers are reportedly filed FARA forms recording their dirty deeds with foreign governments in retrospect only after the 2016 election. General Flynn did the same thing for some work he did with Turkey, which the Podestas were apparently also involved in. The general's work was performed in mid-2016 until before the election while he was a private citizen, but for some reason he and the Podesta brothers it's being attacked for these actions in U.S. court by the corrupt Mueller team. General Flynn never represented a foreign entity while working in the White House in late January after being selected by President Trump to be a member of his team. However, it appears that this is not the case with John Podesta. Look at that. The FARA turned in by the Podesta Group notes that they performed work with a foreign government in 2014, at the same time that John Podesta was in the White House working for President Obama. That foreign government was Ukraine, the same entity that Paul Manafort was indicted for working with, and the Podestas made a lot of money doing it. Look at that. Plenty of work. And plenty of cash. Look at that. In the U.S. today, we have a two-tiered system of justice. If you are a corrupt player in the Democrat Party, you walk free. If you work with President Trump, you are investigated, spied upon, interrogated, put in solitary confinement, accused of false crimes, forced to admit to false crimes, harassed at 4 a.m. in the morning, and thrown in jail or put out of work. The hell with justice in America today, thanks to corrupt deep state and individuals invited into the White House, like creepy John Podesta. Very well said. This excellently lays out the case for the two-tier justice system. We've got all of these individuals surrounded by Trump, and arguably they've done little in comparison when shown up against the crimes of the Podesta brothers, and many more things that I will not discuss here at this time. Hopefully in the future it's something that we can dive into much deeper. All right, now speaking of corrupt individuals in the U.S. government that were connected to Hillary Clinton, from Breitbart, James Comey says there's no deep state. Gosh. Oh, shucks. I forgot. In testimony, former FBI Director James Comey exclaimed, "There's no deep state." before going on to suggest that workers risk their jobs by speaking out purportedly against Donald Trump. During testimony before the House Judiciary and Oversight and Government Reform Committees last week, Comey was asked by Representative Elijah E. Cummings, Democrat, Maryland, for suggestions on how the nation should get back on track after the storm it is currently weathering, a clear reference to Trump's presidency. Comey responded by launching into a mini speech about the resilience of America, while insisting there is no deep state and urging people to speak out. Let's see what Boy Scout Jim had to say.
Former FBI Director James Comey's recent testimony revealed that the FBI's Russia probe initially focused on 4 Americans. Reacting to that news, President Trump tweeted Sunday, on 245 occasions, former FBI Director James Comey told House investigators he didn't know, didn't recall, or couldn't remember things when asked. Opened investigations on 4 Americans, not 2. Didn't know who signed off, and didn't know Christopher...
Lies. All lies. James Comey opens his mouth and lies fall out. Okay? He's got a surplus of untruths. This man, I only hope that James Comey gets what is coming to him. James said, "We are going to be okay." I'm asked all over the country that question, and people ask it with fear in their voice. Are we going to be okay? Republicans, Democrats, and independents. The answer is, we're going to be okay. Because the culture of this nation, the culture of an institution like the FBI, there's no deep state. There's a deep culture in the military, in the intelligence community, in the FBI. Those 3 I know very well. A commitment to integrity and the rule of law. No president serves long enough to screw that up, so the damage by definition will be short-term. Still important, but short-term. I got news for you, Jim. Things are gonna change. They've already started to change, and you and your ilk are on your way out of the seat of power. How short that term is depends upon the rest of us and whether we have the courage to risk our jobs and votes against us by standing up and saying this is not who we are and speaking out. Still clearly addressing Trump's presidency, Comey went on to state that the giant, as he described it, should wake up in response. James Comey is asking for people to revolt in this next quote. That will cabin the damage and reduce it, but in the long term, this will be another one of those Jags in America's lines that we look at and say, look at the progress we made after this. Every time there's great change in this country, we retreat, right? Our upward line is an upward line, but it's jagged, right? And after every so often we go down, then we go back up. The key to going back up is, in my view, awakening the giant. Right? That great lump in the middle of America is where our values sit. We are a center-right, center-left country, and every so often the giant stirs. Do you mean like in 2016, James? When Donald Trump was elected president, fair and square? And I'm going to get emotional if I say this. No one on this earth knows this better than you, but when little girls were killed in Sunday school at the 16th Street Baptist Church, the giant stirred, and we got a Voting Rights Act and a Civil Rights Act, and our line started up again. Oh, Jim's got to pull that race card. It's up and down with us, up and down with us. The inflection back upon depends upon the giant waking up. And that's not a Republican statement or a Democratic statement. That's a values statement. And then we'll get back to disagreeing about immigration and taxes and all of those important things. But this non-negotiable thing, everyone should speak up about it. Wow, Jim. A stirring, rousing rendition of Jim Comey's closed door, not under oath testimony. Jim, I think that you understand that things are not going well for you and your deep state brethren. We are rising up. That giant is awakening. The sleeper has arisen. To quote Dune. All right, and we've got another story about Jim Comey from the Gateway Pundit. Liar Comey lies about FBI Christmas checks and tweet about lying. That's so much lying, Jim. Fired FBI Director James Comey couldn't help himself and posted a tweet today to attack President Trump. This is old hat for old Jim. The corrupt former FBI chief trashed President Trump for lying and lied himself. FBI families will spend Christmas without a paycheck. This president promised Mexico would pay for the wall, but innocent people are now paying the price for another lie. Our thoughts are with hard-working public servants and their families. Comey about how FBI families will be without a paycheck this Christmas. It was a lie. Their next check does not come until after the Christmas on December 28th. Wow, look at this. Conservative Treehouse figured out the actual pay dates for federal employees. Check pay dates. Look at that. They got paid on the 19th prior to the shutdown, and then they're going to get paid on the 28th. God, that means they went into Christmas with money in their pockets. Thank you, everyone, for your service. If you're deep state, move on to the side. And one more thing before we go, I just want to say a very happy birthday to Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. He was born on this day, December 24th, 1958. If this is truly the end of the deep state, what a wonderful Christmas and birthday present for this American patriot. Thank you so much for your service, General Flynn. Thank you for everything you've done for our country, undoubtedly in front of the scenes and also behind the scenes, the things that we will not know until we're reading about it in the history books or until we see your praises sung during the military tribunals. Thank you for everything. We really appreciate it. I hope that you're having a wonderful Christmas holiday. I'm going to try to get out at least one video tomorrow. So once again, everyone, Merry Christmas. Thank you for tuning into Red Pill 78 and the Red Pill News. I am the Corruption Detector. Merry Christmas, everyone.